There is no red, white, or blue in this country. The only color that matters is green because we live in the United Corporations of America. Hello, Jordan Chariton live, Status Coup. It is Monday, February the 10th, the year 2025 in the United Corporations of America. Hope everybody is doing okay in these growingly chaotic, dizzying times. We are just wrapping up our latest on-the-ground reporting trip. The great Tina Desiree Berg, who will be joining me later this week, was on the ground in Northern California, covering the ongoing, let me repeat, ongoing disaster following the massive fire of a lithium battery plant in the Salad Bowl of America. We sent out an email, I think, an hour ago about this important story, which there's not a lot that really surprises me anymore. I mean, the media in this country is pretty awful. But this kind of surprises me, the fact that you have a massive fire showering dangerous chemicals, heavy metals, among other things, all over the place, over farms that are known as the Salad Bowl of America because it produces 70% of our vegetables. Lettuce, celery, spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, artichokes. This area is not like a small little community of farms. It is a massive, massive farming area, and all of us are affected. Yet, as I noted in the email we just sent out, if you're not signed up to our Substack, sign up, statuscoup.substack.com. You'll get the email I just sent out, among other emails we send. The New York Times just decided nearly a month later to finally report on it this morning. And in the New York Times story, they mentioned contamination twice. Once in the 5th paragraph, they mentioned potential crop contamination twice. Once in the 5th paragraph, so it's not in the headline, and you have to wait 5 paragraphs to even get some idea that maybe there's contamination. Colin, I put the link in the live doc if you have that article. 5th paragraph, they mention contamination. And then the second to last paragraph, when referencing how farmers might not be able to go to work. Not that all of our vegetables might be contaminated. Also our fruits. There you go. The pressing concern is that contaminated crops could result in less work. That was the New York Times big takeaway. So we have more reports from Tina and John's reporting there that we're going to be releasing this week that you haven't seen. We'll go through some of the clips today as well. But listen, I'm going to tell you flat out, we are on the cusp. We are close to being able to fund hiring a new reporter. When I say a new reporter, I mean a full-time reporter. We're very close. We need to go a little further in terms of paid signups. So it's up to you. If you want to continue to rely or have CNN and these larger outlets continue to monopolize the megaphone when it comes to actually what's going on in this country, don't do anything. But if you want to help Status Coup grow our team, so it's not just me, it's not just Tina, but we could actually hire a full-time reporter, please sign up today. Right now, lickety split. StatusCoup.com/join. Sending Tina and John there just for 4 or 5 days, that cost us over $1,000. And we saved on rent-a-car. Actually, it probably, Colin, it cost us more than that, actually, because the hotels were through the roof. Probably cost us like $1,500 to $2,000 once we looked through it.
Yeah, the hotels were a very interesting situation, but yeah, because you gotta people forget. They're like, oh yeah, hotel, that's whatever a night. But just times that by 5 or 6, and that stacks up real quick.
Yeah, and 2 rooms, obviously, John, Tina, 2 separate rooms. And actually, I'm wrong. It's probably cost us between $2,500 and $3,000 because I didn't factor in paying Tina and John. Stupid on my part. So the point is, if you want us to continue to expose in the trenches the growing list of corporate sacrifice zones in America, we need your help. If you don't think it's important, then don't fund us. But if you have $5 to $10 a month, that's all I'm asking. We have other plans too, but at the bottom floor, you could support us for $5 to $10 a month. Please, I ask, I beg, support us. StatusCoup.com/join. I think if we keep growing, we need a few hundred more people to sign up as paying members, and then I will be able to post a job for a full-time reporter, and then we could start interviewing people and find the right person. So StatusCoup.com/join. Sign up for as low as a burnt cup of Starbucks coffee a month. That's $5 a month. StatusCoup.com/join. I'll shout you out during the live stream. And shout out, we just got a new member before I signed on. Jackson signed up. So thank you, Jackson. Please, please, please. There's a lot of other outlets constantly emailing you, begging you for money. They're just sitting in a studio, bloviating out of their behind. We're out there on the ground exposing the corporate criminals that have made this the United Corporations of America. And somebody's got to do it because people are being poisoned in Flint, in East Palestine, in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in Conyers, Georgia, in Moss Landing, California, in now over the weekend, Seegertown, Pennsylvania had a plant explosion. I've been reaching out to folks on that. I can't keep up, to tell you the truth. We're losing track, and it's very difficult to stay on all these with one person and, freelancers here or there. That's why we need help. That's why we want to expand. So please, 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 I'm not asking you for money so I could go get a nice steak dinner, although I've lost 10 pounds in the last month. You want to know how? I've been going on the elliptical, doing a little weight training, and I've cut out beer for now. Cut out beer. I lost 10 pounds. So thank you, and I'll promote this as I go. Now, moving on. If you saw the Super Bowl interview, President Trump, and we're going to take your calls shortly, by the way. That I'm burying the lead. We're going to take your calls, so get ready for that. If you saw President Trump's Super Bowl interview, I guess points for him that he actually did it because Biden didn't do it last year because he wasn't capable. Boy, was that a buffet of bullshit out of Trump. And, I've gotten even some people I like telling me, Jordan, you guys are growing. By the way, we're up this year. We're already up 66,000 subscribers, and we're just brand new into February. We hit 200,000 subscribers in August, and that's 6 months ago. We're almost at 400,000 subscribers. So thank you to all the new people. I don't know why YouTube's suddenly allowing us through the door, but I'll take it. So thank you to the new subscribers. If you're new here, subscribe. But some people have said, Jordan, you're going to alienate your conservative viewers. Don't go so hard on Trump. This is not a safe space. This is not a safe space for limousine liberals, and it's not a safe space for MAGA minions, okay? So if you just want, I don't care if you're a liberal, I don't care if you're a conservative. If you're watching this to have your worldview fed back to you on a silver platter 100% of the time, then we're not for you. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, and it's not going to be kind to Trump, and it's also not going to be kind to Democrats, because contrary to 99% of the rest of the internet and media, I'm not on the blue team, and I'm not on the red team, okay? Everyone else likes to pick a team. We tell you the truth, they're all corrupt. Every one of them. On the blue team and the red team. Trump's corrupt, and you've been conned, MAGA. And if you can't take it, go away. This snowflake generation. Oh, unsubscribe. Why? Because we're not Fox News? And we don't feed you back what you already believe? Have an open mind. Because if that's what you want, that's not news. That is a cult, and that's propaganda. So we're going to tell you the truth. Now, Trump did a Super Bowl interview, and besides the lack of substance and the lies, it was such a buffet of bullshit. And essentially, Mr. Populist and anti-establishment, which he was never any of those things. It's been an act for the last decade. It's all been a show and theater. Basically fed a bunch of bullshit how Elon Musk is doing great things as he implements his coup d'etat of the United States government. To be clear, the U.S. government already had a coup because the corporations took over our government a couple decades ago. So there's already been a coup in America of our government, but well before Elon Musk. That one was just more behind the scenes. This one is right out in front of your face. But let's start with that clip, Colin, if you have, where Trump was asked about Elon Musk.
Great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
He's not gaining anything. No. The richest man on planet Earth is just doing this kind act of government efficiency and, his wizardry and accounting out of the kindness of his heart. And shout out, new Status Coup member just signed up, Bonnie. Thank you for heeding the call, Bonnie. We need a lot more Bonnies out there. So please sign up. I'll shout you out. If you can sign up to our website, we do prefer that over YouTube. But whatever floats your boat, our website, statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. So, yeah, the man who's got a lot of business dealings in China does not benefit whatsoever. There's nothing in it for him to have access to our social security numbers, have access to our private data by him and a bunch of 20-something-year-old people who work for him, having access to the Treasury Department's files. Nothing in it for him whatsoever. None. Basically being Trump's brain with these tariffs, nothing at all in it for him. The fact that he has repeatedly over and over tried to sue to declare the National Labor Relations Board unconstitutional because he doesn't want unions. He doesn't want workers to organize. There's nothing in it for him that he gave Trump $300 million and Trump came in, fired the head of the National Labor Relations Board, who was actually doing a good job under Biden. I'll give him that. Removed the Democrat board member. So now that there is no quorum on the National Labor Relations Board, they can't do anything. So there's nothing in it for Elon Musk, who gave you $300 million. And you, Trump, speaking of Trump, has given him the keys to the government to do whatever the hell he wants. There's nothing in it for him. He just gave you the $300 million for no reason. And now is trying to nuke the one agency that kind of, sort of gives workers somewhat of leverage to fight back. There's nothing in it. There's no quid pro quo here, right? Trump is not trying to nuke the NLRB. It has nothing to do with Elon Musk. Elon Musk just wants access to Treasury because he's a data geek and an efficiency nerd. By the way, if you actually cared about government fraud, waste, and abuse, you wouldn't be starting with the Department of Education. You wouldn't be starting with USAID. And I'm talking to you, MAGA. Okay. If the goal here was actually to tackle the big whale, the Moby Dick of fraud, waste, and abuse, you know where you would start? The military. They haven't even looked at the military yet. The military, the Pentagon, is literally not able to be audited. That is what government officials that have tried to audit it have said. It's unauditable because it is one giant big bowl of waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption, by the way. So if Trump, by the way, he says he ran on this, he didn't run on taking a machete to government agencies and programs. By the way, Medicaid is next, which is going to affect you, MAGA. There's a lot of MAGA people on Medicaid. You would start with the military and you'd probably end with the military because that's the biggest waste, fraud, and abuse there is. The Department of Education, please, pennies. But they want to get rid of the Department of Education because the Republican project for decades has been getting rid of public education and privatizing education. I don't want to hear a damn thing about efficiency and Trump and Elon Musk, USAID. Is there some corruption and fraud there? Probably. Is it pennies compared to the military? Yes. But this is not about government efficiency. They don't care about government efficiency. That's just smoke that they're blowing up the people that they've conned, MAGAs, behind. Let's play the next clip.
Said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone into the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there,
and you
where
found
the money's
significant
going.
things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy.
So if Trump wants to tackle fraud, waste, and abuse, how about he start with the $15 billion, $15 billion with a B, that we give free money to the fossil fuel industry? You want to start there since he's so interested? Because he was talking about the USAID and hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm talking about $15 billion in free subsidies we give to the fossil fuckers. You going to go after that? Of course not, because he's all about drill, baby, drill. By the way, his national security advisor just went on TV and basically openly admitted that we want to end the war in Ukraine and Russia, not like to end the war and save lives, but so we could start going into Ukraine and stealing their minerals and natural resources. Of course. It's not about actually ending the war and being anti-war. It's about raping and pillaging another country and stealing from them. At least Trump was honest when he ran. His main thing with Iraq is if we were going to go to war under false pretenses, we should have taken the oil. He said that publicly. But this is all nonsense. Oh, government efficiency, yada, yada, yada. Why don't you go after the free money we give to the fossil fuel industry? Why don't you go after the billions in free subsidies we give to Wall Street? How about you go after the free subsidies we give to not small farmers, big agriculture, big agricultural companies? Hey, you want to go after fraud and abuse? Trump, in your first term, you got elected in 2016. It was still within the reign of possibility. You could have gone after the criminal banksters like Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase, the Bank of America CEO, Wells Fargo, all the criminal bankers that helped tank the global economy through crime, through fraud, foreclosed on millions of Americans. Thank you, new Status Coup member Summer signed up. But I don't remember Trump going after the criminal bankers. I don't remember Trump going after the Sackler family, who criminally lied and basically sent the equivalent of cocaine out in opioid pills, killing hundreds of thousands of people through the opioid epidemic. Do you remember that? OxyContin? Going to go after that fraud? Deadly fraud? No, he's not. MAGA, I love you. Okay? We got conservative viewers too. As we grow, it's not going to only be liberals. But wise up. This man isn't trying to make the government efficient. He's looting the government and handing the government out to literal kleptocrats like Elon Musk, who, by the way, is also racist. And by the way, now Trump suddenly wants to expand immigration for white South Africans. Can you be any more racist? Can you be any more public? Zaina Day just became a YouTube member. By the way, I did invite Zaina to join me today. She had something with her daughter. So for those of you asking for Zaina, I put out the invitation. So it's all nonsense. It's all complete nonsense. Colin, let's play one more from Trump.
All goes to plan. When do you think families will be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich. Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe 300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
But wait a minute. And by the way, this is on the Democrats too, because Trump was not only elected because of hardcore MAGA voters. There was a lot of voters that are not like hardcore MAGA. You know, a lot of them voted for Obama, then switched to Trump, then switched back to Biden, and then switched back to Trump again. So there's a lot of voters that just voted because they remember prices were lower under Trump. Now, prices were higher under Biden in large part because of global factors. And by the way, we just passed 384,000 subscribers. So clap, clap. We're getting there, baby. We're almost at 400,000. So if you're new here, press subscribe. Even if you hate me, just give me that subscribe. We're up. We'll be up again. We just passed 200,000 6 months ago. So we're on a great, great trajectory here. Let's keep this momentum going. And thank you to all the new subscribers. But what I find amazing about it, I could understand people that aren't diehard into politics, that maybe don't like Trump, but, you know, prices were too high and they just kind of thought, all right, well, they were lower under Trump and Democrats aren't offering anything to lower prices. They're not. I mean, Kamala Harris said she was going to go after price gouging in groceries, but then never presented a plan to do so. They weren't going. Biden had every opportunity in the world to force the fossil fuel companies to lower gas prices when they were just price gouging you. I said it time and time again. Biden, instead of sending sternly worded letters, sharply advising the fossil fuckers to lower gas prices, he could have said, you don't lower gas prices by Friday, I'm pulling the $15 billion in free money we give to you fossil fuckers by the end of the week. He wouldn't do it because Wall Street, who is the Democratic Party's big sugar daddy and has purchased the Democratic Party, Wall Street is still heavily invested in the fossil fuel industry. So Biden was not going to bite the hand that feeds him on Wall Street to go after the fossil fuel industry. So I get why quite a bit of voters, not all diehard MAGA, but just non-diehard politicos, those swing voters, voted for Trump. Maybe they thought he would actually lower prices. Well, he said he was going to lower prices at the grocery store and elsewhere on day one. We're now almost a month into this Trump 2.0 train wreck. He's not even bullshitting you that he's going to lower prices. He wouldn't even answer the question. He said something about we're not a wealthy country anymore and we're getting screwed. The same bullshit he's been spewing for the last 30 years. So how is making America a wealthier country? We are a wealthy country. It's just all consolidated in the hands of now the 0.01%. And the rest of us are fighting for the scraps and the crumbs. But he told us he was going to lower prices. He's got no plan to lower prices. He's going to raise prices through these nonsensical across the board tariffs. But nothing from the MAGA minions. Crickets, who said he's going to lower prices. So I'm not going to go after the Democrats when they're in office, which I went after Biden hard because he very well could have lowered prices if he would have actually gone after Wall Street, if he would have gone after the fossil fuckers, if he would have gone after the big grocery stores price gouging the hell out of people. He didn't. I'm certainly not going to let Trump off the hook as he lied and hoodwinked you that he's going to lower prices with his magical wand and he's just going to fart out and prices will go down. Well, not happening. But MAGA, You know, you're like, hey, I can't hear. I don't see you. You got your blinders on because you're not actually supporting this man because of policies. You've been hoodwinked into cult worship. And no matter how many times he lies to you, no matter how many empty bullshit promises he makes, no matter how many times he evades questions and literally changes the subject, you make excuses. Well, was it the price? Were the prices too high, or you don't care? You're willing to pay higher prices because you like the show that he puts on. That's the reality. One more from Trump.
Build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2, but we'll build safe communities a little bit away from where they are, where all of this danger is. In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?
Spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them. Because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. You know, we give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
Colin, could you come on for a second? Because I'm a little confused here. I recall so many right-wingers pretending that they're suddenly anti-war. And one of the big reasons they love Trump is he's anti-war and he's against the deep state. Isn't it kind of like war and imperial to ethnically cleanse 2 billion people out of their land and then impose on other countries that you have to take them and then say, no, they can't come back to their land once we, quote, renovate it? That seems like a hell of a lot of big government to me. That seems like an act of war. That seems like ethnic cleansing. That doesn't seem like a America First move. That seems like straight up war and imperialism.
Yeah, and people forget it's not like just you get war by declaring war. Every war starts by just some random, sometimes even small actions in some cases. And this is just every action this will create is every individual action is a recipe for a larger conflict that could happen, all going to happen at once. And he's anti-war with specific places, it seems like. In other countries and stuff, he's perfectly fine with it. It's unless he's anti-war and just pro certain countries that happen to sometimes have wars in them.
It's just truly remarkable that I still have people telling me Donald Trump is anti-war. What the hell is your measuring stick if you're calling this man anti-war? Okay, so if he expels 2 million Palestinians, technically, because what? There wouldn't be American boots on the ground? That's not a war to you? Because that's a war to me. It's a war crime. And by the way, you don't think that that's going to come back on America? And, you know, for Jewish Zionists out there, if you happen to be listening, like my father and mother, you think that's going to keep Israel safe by removing Palestinians from their land? Because I got news for you. You expel 2 million Palestinians to other countries, what happened on October 7th is going to look like child's play, because there will be repeated attempts to attack Israel and probably America by Palestinians who were just expelled from their land. And I can't say I would blame them for hating Israel and hating America if you expel them from their land, which is a war crime. Say it with me. W-A-R. This man isn't anti-war. And I actually, in a weird way, give him credit for just being open and just loud and proud about his imperialism rather than, you know, pretending to want peace. He's literally treating Palestinians like garbage. Like garbage. And I blame the Democrats too, because they could have stopped this. All Kamala Harris had to do, even if she didn't mean it, even if she probably would have reversed herself, all she had to do was say, I'm different than President Biden. I'm I'm part of this administration, but if I were president, we're going to put an immediate pause on weapons to Israel. And we are going to, do some type of review, yada, yada. But we're going to pause weapons and have an immediate ceasefire. And we're not going to fund their weapons. You certainly would have won Michigan. I could tell you that. Donald Trump wouldn't have won Dearborn. I could tell you that. Might have won some other states too, because it wasn't just Arab American voters you repelled. It was young voters and a lot of independents who, when polled, the top issue for them was Gaza. So the Democrats opened the door for this Neanderthal, degenerate, imperialist, war lover Trump. Speaking of those Democrats, as Trump and I'm going to call him co-president Musk, because Musk is not the vice president, he is the co-president, as Musk is, breaking into the Treasury with his 20-something incels that work for his Doge and getting access to our Social Security. By the way, they're targeting Medicaid next. Actually, Colin, let's show that clip. That Republican lawmaker, I think he was on CNBC or something, where he didn't use the word Medicare, Social Security, or Medicaid, but that's what he's talking about how they're going to pay for Trump's tax cuts for the rich.
Time opportunity here in unified government to actually address mandatory spending. Yeah. Mandatory spending is the biggest driver of the debt in this country, and so we have to address that. And that's what the House Republicans are so solely focused on, while taking care of all these other agenda items that we've discussed, taxes and all the like.
So you do believe that there will be an effort to cut into mandatory spending in order to get some offsets for some of the spending in the reconciliation bill?
Yes, that's what we've been discussing. And as I said, I think this is our once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You see government shutdowns over discretionary spending all the time in the appropriations bills. Just to be clear, discretionary spending is only 26% of every dollar that's spent annually in the United States. So we got nearly
you don't have a lot of choices, yeah.
Mandatory, and if we don't address that, I mean, we're in a world of hurt. You got 75% of it's mandatory.
So that mandatory spending he's talking about, is Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Somehow he's leaving out the military. Isn't it interesting that they always leave that out? Huh. Before we get to calls, I want to also show you the Democratic response to this, because the Democratic Party, who is purchased by Wall Street, purchased by Big Pharma, the for-profit health insurance industry, Silicon Valley, their response to this is not leading protests, is not calling for economic boycotts, is not calling for or trying to shut down the government against blatantly illegal authoritarian fascist movements. It's for the Democratic leader in the House to basically say there's nothing we could do. Let's play that clip from Hakeem Jeffries.
There's three elements. Part one, talk about lowering the high cost of living, but do nothing about it. Part two, enact massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations.
It's the other one, Colin.
That will do.
I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
What leverage do we have? It's their government. What can we do? Well, if you weren't purchased and bought off and corrupt, he's corrupt, by the way. He's a mini Nancy Pelosi, just a different gender and race. I don't know. You could speak about how Trump is purchased by Wall Street and all of his special interests, but you're not going to talk about that because you're purchased by the same people. So you can't really make a credible case there, can you? I don't know. You could get out, organize protests. I don't know. You could even say, we're not going to show up to votes. We're going to shut down the government. because the Act A, B, C, and D is illegal. They're not going to do that because their donors don't want them to shut down the government. Their donors want the status quo to continue because their donors, other than, the way he talks and ruffles feathers, is very happy with Trump. They're going to get their tax cuts, deregulation, and all the rest. So your answer and your case, your pitch to Americans to vote for you in the midterms is, we have no power. There's nothing we could do. Well, that's sure going to get rid of the fascists. Now, let's play the other clip. He was on the floor. Let's see what he had to say.
There's three elements. Part one, talk about lowering the high cost of living, but do nothing about it. Part two, enact massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations that will do nothing to improve the quality of life of everyday Americans. Part three, stick working class Americans with the bill for those massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations by destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid as we know it. House Democrats want nothing to do with the Republican bait and switch, and we will do everything possible to stop it.
So it all sounds nice, but the problem is I've been paying attention to politics now for 20 years. I started paying attention in 2004. This is the same shit I've been hearing from Democrats for 2 decades. It all sounds nice. It is true that they want to give tax breaks to the wealthy, this and that. But the problem is you're not offering any bold alternatives. You're offering neoliberal crumb cake. You're offering, or Kamala Harris was offering, tax incentives and some technocratic neoliberal policies. So you can't respond to fascism by regurgitating the same talking points you've been regurgitating, the same neoliberal talking points that you've been regurgitating about Republicans for 30 years. That might have worked 30 years ago, but it doesn't work now as we're all suffering under the neoliberal hellscape you helped create. Just saying they want to cut taxes for the wealthy and not do anything else, it is true, but you don't really have a leg to stand on because most voters don't trust that you're going to provide any substantial alternative to that will help them. Because when in power, you've offered crumbs and blamed the parliamentarian and other bullshit for why you can't offer health care for Americans, education for Americans, codify Roe v. Wade. Do something to save the burning planet. So, great speech. We can't do anything because we have no power. So let me recite the whole same speech I've been reciting for the last 20 years. It's absurd. All right. We got almost 600 people watching. I want to hear from you. Let's get on the phones. Colin, if you could put up the number for people to call in. Happy to talk about whatever you want. I mean, keep it somewhat related to politics and what we're talking about here. Also, happy to talk about the trip we just took, the on-the-ground reporting trip that we just took. We'll play clips from that if we get some time later. So please, please, please call in, and I'm going to be rapid fire in a way so I can get as many calls in as possible before I have to take over for my wife with my lovely. Web host. Ready. Connect to show. Okay. Share. All right. Who do we got? Summer, you're up.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hey. How do I do this?
There is no script. You tell me what's on your mind, and I respond.
Okay, who am I talking to right now?
Jordan.
Summer, you're up. Hi, Jordan.
Hey.
So
Just,
is it okay if
just turn your computer or whatever you're watching me on off, because I hear an echo.
Okay, hold on. How's that?
Good.
Okay. So do I just speak now?
Yep.
Okay. So I just have a couple of really quick things that I want to try to kind of put out there, because just a couple quick points about like what the Democrats are doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So like Elizabeth Warren, she's out. I mean, they're out there. They are, but they were in no way prepared for the level of criminality that's involved here. I mean, they couldn't be, because the way that they are seizing funds using the going against the Impoundment Control Act,
Mm-hmm.
nobody could have saw that. I don't think anybody could have saw that coming. Well, they did see it coming, but they didn't. Like you said, that the campaigning against it was not effective. But there is one point that I wanted to point out.
Sure.
There's a scientist guy, I can't remember his name, but there's a film called Vigilante Inc.
Yeah, I just interviewed Greg Palast over the weekend.
Okay, what do you think of that? I mean, because that's crazy, the Jim Crow stuff.
It doesn't shock me at all, and he is a great reporter who's exposed mass voter suppression and people being purged off the rolls dating back to 2004 election.
Right, and so the I guess the point I wanted to make is this essential kind of what the Republicans are trying to do comes out primarily from what I've seen. The real leaders in it are like Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, just these kind of, that it goes all the way back to like, it's like they're pissed that they can't have slavery anymore, and they're trying to bring it back. And that's what this feels like, because, and the other thing I was going to point out, and I feel like a weirdo for this because I've been researching deep on this for 2 years. One of the ways that I figure out to go like right to the source of what's going on, you can visit each state and their legislature, and you can see exactly the direction they're going right after an election by the bills that they submit. And if you were to go to like, wait, am I still on?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. If you, for instance, go to the North and South Dakota legislatures, like I did, this is a full-on take all the land away from the Native Americans. They want to build jails, prisons, and mental institutions. They want to essentially, remove natives in whatever the way they see fit. And there's bills that take away all of the land rights on everything all across the country. If they get through with this, they want to eliminate all, protections for animals, for water, for forests. And a lot of it has to do with the Keystone Pipeline. So basically what these certain Republicans that are, all in it, is they're all about oil, and they're all about removing, rights from anybody. Essentially, it's just what Project 2025 is, just how it's written. It's going to be white Christian people, rich white Christian people are going to be given preference And then everybody else is just, you know, good luck. It's the Hunger Games. That's all I'm saying. That's what this is. They want to cut everybody off of everything, deport the immigrants, and then make the really poor people go, you know, either, I don't know. But do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I mean it's basically what does Kyle Kalinske call it? The robber barons have taken over.
It is, yeah.
yeah.
And and I looked at, because I dug in really hard to like what they call the waste, fraud, and abuse and the DEI stuff. And so much of that was Joe Biden did a whole thing where he targeted tribes and poor rural areas for all kinds of projects with, you know, bringing getting the pipes up to speed and getting pollution out of water and putting, you know, assigning someone on the tribe that will do the mental health stuff and, you know, to lift people up, figure out what people need. And it's just extraordinary that people don't know that. And at the end of the DEI, it's DEIA. Part of that is just accessibility with like hearing. And it pisses me off. And, you know, there's so much of it that people aren't even, there's so much to see that, and they did this on purpose, the flood the zone thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know, like I post stuff on my Facebook page and people are, you know, they're like, I don't know. It's just the whole flood the zone work where they had everybody so confused for the last few years and they gaslit everybody. And now that they're really doing it, you know, you can't even say anything. People think you're weird. And that's why I'm just, I just can't believe this.
I hear you. I think they should have, the opposition should have expected some of this, but at the end of the day, it's unprecedented. And I think, honestly, the difference is before Trump, the last 40 years, I mean, we had a coup of this country. Our government has been sold to corporate America. The country's been corrupt for a while. It was just kind of in the background and not as in your face and not as brazen. Now the corruption is completely in your face. I mean, I didn't even get to the fact that Trump wants to pause a law banning bribery of foreign officials, which just came out. So yeah, it's very brazen, and you know, don't expect the Democratic Party to lead you in the fight against it. I do have to take the next caller though. Thank you for your support and calling in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Take care.
All right. David from Canada.
Hello, how are you?
Hey there.
Hey, real quick, just before I get into my thing, I'd just like to say how much I enjoy your show. You're one of the few places that I've ever watched that actually shares my thoughts on the fact that the Democrats are just as responsible for the mess we're in as the Republicans. So nice to know that I'm not the only one out there that sort of talks along the same lines you do there.
You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. People really don't like that.
Oh, you tell me about it. You have no idea how many times I've been banned and bounced from chats for even coming close to suggesting something like that.
As we've grown recently a lot, almost 200,000 subscribers in 6 months, we're getting, you know, some people find me, they watch a video that's critical of Democrats and they think I'm a right winger. And then so they sign up and then, or subscribe. And then I do a video on Trump and they can't take it because in this country, the people,
it's one or the other.
Yeah, you got to pick a team, and people don't realize they're all corrupt. Same thing. I did a video critical of Trump a week or two ago. It blew up. I think we got like 3,000 subscribers from it. So you get a lot of liberals that just found us. And then when I start shitting on the Democrats, they can't take that. It's just one mass brainwashing. And I used to be brainwashed too a long time ago. I used to think the Democrats were great. Yeah.
Me too. I used to think that they were a viable option. The only way I've ever been able to get it across to people is, okay, you got two parties, but you've only got one set of owners. What makes you think that if it's the same owner, if it's the same donors for the Republicans and the Democrats, what makes you think when they donate to a Republican candidate, they want a different set of outcomes than they do when they donate to a Democratic candidate?
Yep.
You know, it's I don't know, duopoly. We could sit there and argue that forever and all be crushed. Also, great work on mentioning Palast. I wish more people had mentioned his work before the election.
Yeah.
I think Francesca Fiorentini was the only person I knew other than me that got it out, and she only did it about 4 days before.
Yeah.
But you know, now that it's way too late to do anything about it, now everybody's talking about him. But it was an important book that he put out there. But anyways, Canadian perspective. I am from Canada. I'm from Ontario. Yet in a lot of coverage in that from you know, both Canada and America as to what's going on here. I just want to put in the 2 cents worth of a citizen here. You talk. You say, you know, the American government and all that has been couped. It's extremely corrupt. So has your government has actually done the same thing to my country, in the way that, and I don't want to be like this ranting radical or anything like that, but almost like very similar to the way that, you know, American CIA or whatever would coup out governments in South America and stuff like that. Over the last number of years, you've more or less, you know, hollowed out my country's institutions as well. Like, you've taken over our banking. Almost all of our media is owned by American billionaires with direct links to right-wing Republican think tanks and stuff like that.
Well, neoliberalism, which Canada has been succumbed to, just like America for decades, it's a global thing. Yeah. It doesn't stop at borders.
It is, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that. Believe me, I know that. I'm just trying to put it into context for the average American, maybe who might be hearing this from a Canadian for the first time. As soon as you get into globalism and stuff like that, they start, oh yeah, you're just a conspiracy theorist. I personally think that it's obvious as hell, but you know, for those that think that that's just a bridge too far, I don't want to get too far there. But like, we have an election coming up. It does not matter which of the candidates win. Every one of our potential candidates is owned outright by some American institution or another. Obviously, the worst one would be Pierre Poilievre. I mean, he's just a fossil fuel lobbyist.
Right.
He's been in office since the age of 22. He campaigns on not being a lifetime politician, yet he's held the job since the age of 22. He is wined and dined by American billionaires. Like, he's just recently, like 10 different American billionaires have had fundraisers at their Canadian resident mansions, including members of the for-profit American healthcare system and stuff like that. We know Poilievre is in there. We've got now that Trudeau has stepped down, we've got, you know, Carney. A lot of people may have seen him on The Daily Show a couple of weeks ago, and he seems like a nice guy. No, he's completely, you know, part of the financial globalist situation. He's more like a Hillary Clinton kind of a thing with severe ties to the banks. And then you've got Trudeau's finance minister, Christina Freeland, I believe. Yeah. Like, she completely sabotaged Trudeau and his efforts. You know, like, but when she walked out, I mean, she's also got some very sketchy family ties to Nazism. She's like very pro-Israeli government, and
she kind of reminds me of a Canadian Hillary Clinton.
She is, yeah. Like, both her and Carney are like deeply, deeply tied to hedge funds and the banking system and stuff like that.
Right.
Carney, you know, in addition to being the head of the Bank of Canada prior to this, was the head of the British, the Bank of England, or whatever the heck their equivalent is over there. You know, and you see how their government and their financial institutions have meshed in with this, you know, new, semi-fascist wave of American exceptionalism that Trump and Musk are trying to spread around the world there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have our NDP, but even Singh, I believe, sort of, you know, he should have stood with Trudeau. I mean, I realize he's got problems with how he at least states he has problems with how the economy is going. What nobody ever seems to mention is that if you take the Tory parties, like Poilievre's provinces for the progressive conservatives, out of the mix, because the PCs have completely devastated the economies of Ontario, Alberta, and New Brunswick, or not New Brunswick, good God, Vancouver, BC, British Columbia. I'm sure I'm Canadian. If you take that out, the Canada wasn't doing that bad, but we're just, I feel there's a lot of misinformation that Americans are getting about Canada and stuff like that. So
yeah,
we're sort of under siege here, and I wanted to get that out there because maybe a lot of people don't understand that no matter who wins the election, we're screwed.
Yeah. I appreciate you. I appreciate you telling us, and as much as I can, I try to stay up on Canadian stuff too.
Yeah. Hey, and I appreciate your coverage, man. Like you're doing way better coverage than most places out there. I'm really glad I only found you maybe 3 or 4 months ago, but I'm really glad that I did.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Okay. You have a good day.
Bye-bye. All right. Smash that like button, share this live stream, and please sign up as a member. We just got a few new sign-ups. Welcome new Status Coup member. Carolee signed up. Christina signed up. And Jackson signed up. We need more of you. Like I said at the beginning, we're very, very close to being able to fund a full-time reporter. So it's not just me. We could expand our coverage. So if you like what you see, if you like independent, on the ground journalism, support us. $5 a month. You could support us for as low as $5 a month. That's 16 cents a day. You could support us at $10 a month. That's 33 cents a day. All right. Thomas, you're up.
Hello.
Hey there.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I just came across John Kennedy. I forget where he's from, which state he's from. But anyway,
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Recently on Forbes, their breaking news YouTube site. I mean, sometimes they put some good stuff out. So they put out a video of him literally having a meltdown after what Joe Biden said is just heading out the door about the corruption and stuff going on in this country. Whether he meant anything by it or not, I just think it was just really showing how truthful, how far this corruption goes when you have on where anyone can see it, man. It's on YouTube. It's not like it's behind a paywall. It's free for anybody. A complete meltdown of a U.S. senator.
Well, first of all, would have been nice for Biden to do something about that corruption while in office. Obviously, kind of a day late, dollar short to say it on his way out. But yeah, I mean, Republicans, Democrats, they want to pretend that we're all just upstanding, public servants here and trying to do the will of the American people. And we just have some honest disagreements here when, I mean, they're literally doing insider trading and trading stocks on both sides with information that if you and I traded stocks on the information they get, we'd be arrested for insider trading. They do it, and it's just another day in Congress. So, yeah, doesn't surprise me. And that's what I think is unique about what Musk and Trump are doing. I mean, it's not right, and it's illegal, a lot of what they're doing, but it's kind of just taking the corruption that has been kind of just the more civilized form of corruption that has existed in the country for several decades. And, politicians on both sides, taking legal bribes from special interests, and now just kind of injecting it out there in the veins of, for everyone to see. So, yeah, we definitely have a corrupt country, and Trump is accelerating it. You still there? All right. Must have lost him. All right. Up next, Zane.
Hello.
Hey there.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Jordan.
Hey. Oh, Zane.
Zaina.
Zaina. It said Zane in my thing. The great Zaina Day.
How's it going? I'm sorry that I missed the show today, so I thought I'd call in and in chat for just a minute, but I won't keep you too long so that other folks can
tell
have
them,
your
tell
ear.
the masses. Am I understating it, or is it more corrupt than I've said?
Oh man, I don't know what's coming. I don't think that the courts are going to be able to hold it up, but something that you've said on the show over and over again that I think is really important because our mainstream media is glossing over it is that everything that's happening right now has been chipping away since Reagan. The unraveling of the New Deal has been, and of course, the New Deal wasn't really fulfilled for everyone in the country to begin with, but the chipping away, the privatizing of our health care by the ACA, the privatizing of our state tuition for colleges used to be subsidized at 85%, and now is only subsidized at 12%. So people could go to school in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and that was all the way up until the mid 80s, early 90s, and it was subsidized as almost tuition-free college. There's an abundance of things. Worker protections are gutted, unions are gutted. And I think we're just seeing all the poisoning that's happened, like you've been covering across the country, our failing infrastructure, something we've been covering at Status Coup for how long?
Mm-hmm.
4 years. You've been covering it for 4 years now. You and I covered some of that when I was there. Yeah, it's been eroding, and it's like they hit the gas, and we're in overdrive now.
Yeah. And I think the flood the zone strategy also, people are busy and can't keep up. So I think they're trying to do so much crazy shit all at once so that the worst of it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I mean, literally as I'm live, I don't know if he tweeted or truthed or what the context is, but Trump apparently just said, if all Israeli hostages are not released by 12 o'clock on Saturday, the ceasefire should be canceled and let all hell break loose. So clearly, I was cautiously optimistic when the ceasefire happened, but I said, be vigilant because I wouldn't trust Donald Trump or Netanyahu, and they could be doing this just to get some hostages released before they, accelerate their ethnic cleansing in Gaza, which it seems Trump is saying if they don't release all the hostages by Saturday, then Bibi, here's some more bombs because they have provided more.
He already provided the 2,000-ton bombs again, which Biden, honestly, before he left, had already opened up. So those were already basically allowed. But then the Biden administration was already blocking the ICJ, already blocking the UN. They were already gaslighting. So I feel like the last administration, they leveled Gaza. They set the stage. Trump came in. He got a chance to be a little bit of a hero because of this, ceasefire that wasn't a real ceasefire that, yes, Biden did help draft as well. But the fact that they opened up the West Bank for sale and seizure was a huge red flag. The fact that they rolled back what few sanctions that were on Israel was a huge red flag. And I was like, oh no, this is just phase 2 of this horrific genocide that we're seeing. And this is going to be a very, very temporary pause, unfortunately.
I'd love to know what you think, because I've been very, very critical of Democrats ever since I've been doing this. But even you wrote political speeches, you ran campaigns, even the least cunning, charismatic politician would know in the face of a literal coup attempt, because that's what Musk is doing here, you might want to respond differently than we have no power and can't do anything. That was just beyond the pale pathetic.
I looked up the definition of milquetoast in the dictionary, and it just says Democrat now. That's it.
No, but honestly, what can they do from the standpoint of they're not going to lead a revolt. They're not going to try and shut down the government because they're corrupt too, and their donors don't want that. They're not going to say, hey, economic boycotts, because Trump is
right.
They're not going to do that because their donors don't want that either. So because they're so purchased themselves, they can't do anything. They can, but they choose not to, is my point.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And what's so crazy is that they could message. They could, they could message like we messaged in 2016, 17, and 18, right? I mean, we had people rallying behind Medicare for All, rallying behind abolish ICE, rallying around massive reforms. The whole country, the polling numbers were different. I know, I helped lead some of those. We helped lead some of those messaging initiatives, and it was changing the trajectory in the country. However, the Dems did everything they could and spent as much money as they could to quell the progressive and left movement in this country because it was becoming popular. And I feel like, I know that Kamala running on her sort of right-wing, her pro-immigration, but she was like, I'm going to be tougher on the border than Trump is even. And her stances on Israel and her very neoliberal, trying to revise the Cheneys, you know, when he was he's still one of the hatest men in America. It normalized Trump. It set the stage for him. When she said, I'm going to do his immigration policy, but better, then people are just going to look at that and go, well, we must have a major problem. He must be doing something right. So why don't I just pick the guy who said he was going to do it in the first place? Their messaging sucks, and there's no economic policy on their platform. They're not really combating any of the messaging because it's the same messaging that their donors have. Their donors are also techno-feudalist. Right. Their donors were also the Zuckerbergs and the whoever's, you know, the same. Musk used to be their donor too.
Yep, absolutely. It's all one big
just as bought and paid for.
And I got news for you. I don't think all the answer is in a third party. I'm open to a third party, but as I've always said, you got to be able to have some type of plan to combat Democrats trying to rig it against you, throw you off the ballot, this and that. But if there was ever a time and an opening right now for a third party to really build, now's the time, because you're going to have a lot of neoliberals even that are Team Blue that are going to get sick of this shit with the Democratic Party allowing fascism and might be open to a third party. So for those, you know.
Well, I did some coverage on Status Coup, if you remember, and I'm going to release more because I've been doing some really dug in and did some research, and it goes hand in hand with some of the things that Greg Palast has covered because it kind of contributes to what is happening with the voter suppression. But we covered on your show, we covered on Status Coup that the Democratic Party, you know, they abandoned the 50-state strategy, right, back in the early 2000s that Howard Dean tried to bring back, and he did it successfully, and so they pulled the rug out from under him, and they like demonized him for going hoo-ha. Remember that?
Right.
Going hoo-ha was like a big deal. But so they defunded these state parties, and this time in some states like Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, some of these states used to be like extremely blue, extremely Democratic Party strongholds. They defunded their state parties. And in Nevada, you and I were talking about this the other day, or a couple weeks ago, how they completely, they pushed progressives out of Nevada because they were actually winning elections and retook the state house. Right. So instead of the Democratic Party being happy that they retook the state house, they defunded the party.
Yep.
So there's an opportunity there for people to run independent. You don't have to have a party to run independent at the state level. You can just run. And it's easier to get on the ballot a lot of times as an independent.
Absolutely.
And I think people should just start to run. Build a community around that. You know, maybe a group of you get together and run. You don't have to have a political party to run for office. You can run indie, especially in state houses, and it can make a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Hate to cut you short, but I hear my little daughter upstairs terrorizing my wife, and I have to go soon. We'll have Zaina back on the show, hopefully this week. So you and I will talk offline.
Yeah, we'll chat. Talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do another call-in show later this week, and I'm going to get right into it, right off the top. So we have more time because I do have to wrap up now. So we'll do another call-in, say Thursday or Friday. And we will do, I'll try to go an hour and 20 minutes of calls because I know there were people waiting so we could take more calls. Sorry, but my daughter is, the terrible twos are terrible. And my wife has to do some work herself. Let me read some comments. Bonnie became a YouTube member. Thank you, Bonnie. Summer became a Status Coup YouTube member. Thank you. Thank you. To those who signed up on YouTube, we love you. If you don't mind, feel free to cancel your YouTube membership and sign up on our website. Because when you sign up on our website, we get access to your email, which we want not to spam you, but we want to email you. Like I sent out an email about 2 hours ago with some of our content from our on-the-ground reporting trip. We want to email you when we're going live on the ground. We're not emailing every day begging for money. So if you can, sign up to our website, statuscoup.com/join. We very much appreciate it. Das was Fleisch, member for 16 months. There cannot be enough President Musk memes day by day. It might hasten a breakup or at least give Trump a stomach ulcer out of anger. Oh, I mean, the breakup is coming soon. Trump is not going to stand for Elon Musk getting all the headlines. It's just how much damage will be done before the breakup. That's the question. Donald James, Status Coup message for member for 14 months. Colin, ever heard of a band called Oxygen Destroyer? Colin?
We had a chat there, but the answer was no. But they look pretty cool. They're inspired by stuff like Godzilla.
Okay, so that's inside geek stuff that I don't know about. My favorite band is Third Eye Blind, which I'm not ashamed to say. Jerby became a Status Coup YouTube member. Thank you, Jerby. Same thing. If you became a YouTube member, consider canceling that YouTube membership and signing up on our website for as low as $5 a month. Statuscoup.com/join. You get the same benefits of membership. We just get your email. And actually, YouTube takes more of your money. So we get more of your support, your financial support, if you sign up to our website rather than YouTube. Cecilia became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Cecilia. Jose, is that Jose? Jose became a YouTube member. Thank you. Thank you. And Big Dub Animal gifted a Status Coup YouTube membership. Very, very much appreciate it. A couple of public service announcements before I end. Number one, you could get this awesome hat and other awesome gear, statuscoup.com/store. So as we grow and get new subscribers, be a Status Coup ambassador. Get the United Corporations of America shirt in statuscoup.com/store. Get your Status Coup hats. Get your Status Coup phone covers. Get your Status Coup sweatpants, towels. We got it all right there in statuscoup.com/store. Also, like I said, we have more videos and on-the-ground reporting we're going to be releasing this week from our Tina's trip covering the ongoing lithium battery inferno that is sickening people in Northern California and quite possibly contaminating 70% of our vegetables, because that area, the Salad Bowl of America, produces 70% of our vegetables. So this affects all of us. So please, please check out the videos and the interviews we've already released. Share it, spread it, because a lot of people don't know about this environmental disaster because the media has ignored it. So I'm seeing so many comments under these videos. Why isn't this being covered more? Why didn't I hear about this up until now? It kind of got lost in the LA wildfires and all of Trump's craziness. But this is very important because there is a shower of heavy metals and chemicals being released from that plant all over. As far as 50 to 100 miles, people are reporting health symptoms, including nosebleeds, headaches, dizziness, lung burning, chemical burns and rashes, and metallic taste in their mouth. And there's farms everywhere in this area. Broccoli, spinach, celery, artichoke, cauliflower, and also fruit. Strawberry, that's where Driscoll's, the big strawberry company, has a lot of farms. Blueberry farms. So this is very, very important. This affects what you eat and what your children eat. So please, please support us. We want to stay on this story, possibly me even going back there myself, but it takes money. It takes resources. So that's why we're asking for your support. So go check out those videos. I also interviewed Mary Grant from Food and Water Watch. So that video is up. We posted it earlier about Trump's war on your water. He's repealing the very few positive regulations that were being put in under Biden to actually have regulations on chemicals being released in our water. Trump is repealing that. He's also trying to repeal the minuscule rules that were being put in place to prevent lead from leaching in your water. Why, Republicans, you voted for poison water? Is that what you want, MAGA? So go check out that interview. We posted it this morning. Also, check out the interview I did with Greg Palast. We posted that over the weekend. His research and reporting have found as many as 3.5 million voters were purged off the voter rolls in the 2024 election. Unsurprisingly, mostly black voters who, according to Palast, most of these voters were expected to be Kamala Harris supporters. So we got a lot of great content. If you're new here, subscribe. And again, I am not beyond begging you. I won't beg rich people, but I will beg you. I won't beg Norfolk Southern, Goldman Sachs, Pfizer, or any of the corporate criminals that have purchased our government. But I will beg you, the working people of America, please, if you got $5 to $10 a month, statuscoup.com/join. We'll see you tomorrow.